Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Bearded Bible Thinker. This is the Puritans On. Now, this is a new thing. I've never done one of these before, and I intend to do more of them. What I'm doing in the Puritans On, it's just what it sort of sounds like, and I'm attempting to intentionally look at some subject matter from the Puritans. And it'll be various guys and various works that they've written or preached and that have subsequently been put on paper and printed, things like that. But it'll be on specific subjects. And I think that'll be really helpful because one of the things that you learn about the Puritans is that they were very deep thinkers, and very deep spiritual thinkers. And so we're going to begin with contentment, and this won't be the only contentment episode, but I want to do kind of a series on these. We're coming into a season in the coming couple of months in which contentment tends to be a big problem, a big struggle for folks. Even as children begin to think about, Christmas presents. And I was asked just the other day, while my wife was visiting my father-in-law, her dad, wife was visiting there, and she sent me a text and said, "Hey, Dad wants you to know what you want for Christmas." So those questions are already coming, and definitely we're already maybe thinking about, or kids are already asking, "Oh, can I get this for Christmas?" or whatever it is. So and it's not just Christmas, right? Because a thing that I talk about every year, inevitably, and we'll talk about on here again, is this that we're also coming into November, and Thanksgiving is a major holiday, a major American holiday, and it's this wonderful time, this wonderful moment. Frankly, one of the struggles with that is that many people will sit with much family and give thanks together for things that maybe they really and truly are thankful for, but there's really no acknowledgement or understanding in many hearts as to who they ought to be thankful to. But that's a whole other subject matter. The point that I want to make is the contentment thing, right? So Thanksgiving is on a Thursday every year, and it is followed immediately by the most selfish holiday, frankly, at this point in America, which is Black Friday, and that's the all the deals are happening. I saw a meme not long ago on social media that said, it was basically like, hey, stores on Black Friday was the audience, and the person said, hey, we all have big TVs now. Slash the prices of groceries, or put the discount on groceries or something like that. And it was meant to be funny, and it kind of was, but you have this one day on a Thursday in which we're all called to, by the secular world, even we're all called to give thanks for the things that we have in our lives, the people that we have in our lives, and then the very next day is like, historically, there are people running over other people to get to the deals, taking things out of other people's hands. People get injured in larger, more metropolitan situations, because there's just a stampede of people after stuff. This isn't going to be an indictment if you shop on Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever. But I just think it's worth talking about contentment. And so this first quote that I want to work through really briefly and talk about is from Simeon Ashe, and it's from his work called Primitive Divinity, and it says this about contentment. Contentment is a sweet tempter of spirit, whereby a Christian carries himself in an equal poise in every condition. The nature of this will appear more clear in these three general rules. So he's going to give three general rules about contentment and the nature of it. The first one is this, quote, "Contentment is a divine thing. It becomes ours not by acquisition, but infusion. It is a slip taken off from the tree of life and planted by the Spirit of God in the soul. It is a fruit that grows not in the garden of philosophy, but is of a heavenly birth." And so the first thing that he points out is that contentment is a divine thing. That contentment is not something that you can necessarily just fabricate. You can, even as a Christian, we can get caught up in things of the world and longing for stuff and fighting for stuff and fighting over stuff. And contentment is something that we should ask the Lord for. So it's something that should be on our mind, and understanding that it's not something that we can just do these 5 steps and all of a sudden we're content, because the object of contentment ultimately is God Himself, and so we are satisfied in Christ and nothing else. And so all that to say, this first thing that he's talking about is that contentment is divine in nature. It's a gift. It's something that God gives as He gives Himself to you, and as He puts on you and lavishes you with grace and mercy new every morning. It's a gift. Contentment is a gift. And so if you're finding yourself discontent, if you're finding yourself just in a season of life in which you're just continuously longing for this thing or that thing, or you're just not satisfied with the things you have, or with the people in your life, or even with your relationship right now with God, that we go through desert times with that also, right? So if that's you, understand first that this is a divine gift from God. And so the first thing that you have to do isn't sit down and write down all the things that you have, all the pros, if you will, in your life, all the people in your life, the people that love you, the things that the Lord has blessed you with, the material possessions, that's not the first step, even though that might be helpful, right? But the first step is pray. Ask God to help you be satisfied in Him. Ask the Lord to help you become satisfied with Him, because He's the ultimate satisfier of the Christian. Okay, the second thing that Simeon Ashe brings up is this. He says, contentment is an intrinsical thing. It lies within a man, not in the bark, but the root. Contentment hath both its fountain and stream in the soul. The beam hath not its light from the air. The beams of comfort which a contented man do not arise from foreign comforts, but from within. So again, this is kind of pointing to a similar point that I was making, in that since this is a divine thing, and it's not satisfied with things that you can just grab, or I feel healthier, so I'm content, or our house is shaping up, so now I'm content. Those things, like anything else, are incredibly short-lived, and because Christ is the only thing that can give us true satisfaction, contentment is an intrinsical thing. He says it's on the inside, just like everything, right? Like I just preached a sermon. And it was from Psalm 36, and talked briefly about the inner person, that your salvation the or evil that comes out of your mouth or in your actions or whatever. This is a heart issue. Um, and the person that you are inside, the person that you really are, is this is where contentment is fostered. It's not a surface level thing. It goes deeper than that. God is chiefly not interested, or at least not firstly, with your outside situation, with your outside actions. He is. So don't hear me say that God is not interested in the things that you do. Of course He is. We don't just come to Christ and then wander off into vain things um, and do whatever we want. That doesn't make any sense. That's a heresy that's out there today, but that doesn't even hold up logically. But all that to say that contentment, like other spiritual things, like other gifts from God, like ultimately, it is about the inside of a person. So contentment isn't something that can be fostered on the outside. It's if it's on the outside, if it's surface level, and you just display contentment, the idea is then you're not really content, right? If you're not content on the inside, if you're not content as a person, as a child of God, if you're not content with Christ, if you're not content with the things that He has given you and what a blessing those things are, and the people that He has put in your life, and the blessing that those things are, if you merely look content or act content, then you're not content, because like everything else, it begins in the inside. So contentment is a divine thing. Contentment is an intrinsical thing. And then thirdly, he says contentment is an habitual thing. It shines with a fixed light in the firmament of the soul. Contentment doth not appear only now and then, as some stars which are seen but seldom. It is a settled temper of the heart. So contentment is not something that turns off and on. That's not to say that you don't walk through seasons of life in which you struggle with discontent, and then other times you don't as much. So he's not talking about that necessarily. He's saying though that it is a status of the heart. Um, it's a way of being. You are a content person, and how wonderful it would be. Like how often in life have you walked through periods of discontent, in which you're always daydreaming about the things that you wish were true in your life, the things that you wish were real in your life, or the things that you wish you had in your life, or the kinds of friends that you wish you could have, or maybe a relationship that you wish were a different way, or whatever. Those things aren't necessarily bad or evil, but it becomes discontent when unholy discontent, rather. Maybe at some point we'll get into the helpful and holy discontent, because that's a real thing also. Um, but it's not something that it's not a light switch that you walk into a room and you flick the light on or off or whatever when you go out. It's not like that. It's a state of being. I'm content in Christ. And every once in a while, I struggle with discontent, or even in seasons of my life, I struggle with discontent. But I am a content person, chiefly because it's a divine thing. It's been given to me by God. It's a divine gift from God. Contentment in Christ is this wonderful gift from the Lord, and it's an intrinsic thing, he says, right? So that was number two. So it's inside of you. It's not a surface level contentment. It's a true contentment. And then it's habitual. It's a regular thing. It's a regular way of being. So I don't know if you struggle with contentment. Those are just a couple of things from this Simeon Ashe quote that I thought were helpful. Um, and we'll get into some more of these because I want to talk about contentment a little more than this. Um, but we'll continue to work through some of those things in the near future, and I hope this was helpful. Be content.